But this video is about how I went from a lucrative career in finance to becoming a freedive instructor. Good morning, guys. My name is Ray, aka Freedive Nomad. I make videos about freediving, the small island I live on called Xiaoluqiu, Taiwan. If those kind of topics jive with you, why don't you hit the like and subscribe button so you can be notified of when I come out with new videos. So thanks for joining me on my morning walk, which I do most days of the week in the morning. Just get some easy exercise, get the blood flowing, get some sun. So let's start for me in 1995. It's the year I graduated from university. I really had no idea what I wanted to do. During school, I tried the whole pre-med thing to try to become a doctor because my dad was a doctor and he had a pretty good life, so why not? But then I figured out quickly that science classes in university are a lot harder than they were in high school, and so yeah, I couldn't cut it. Those science classes were not for me. Then I had to take an economics course as a prerequisite and kind of liked it. I kind of liked figuring out how money works, right? And so I graduated in 1995 with a BA in economics. But the last year, one of my best friends from university, Dylan, he spent his third year abroad in Hong Kong. He traveled around the world. He went to India, Europe, etc. And you know, the last year it really convinced me that yeah, going abroad, studying or working or whatever was a pretty cool thing to do. So yeah, after I graduated, I really had no idea what I wanted to do for work. And I didn't want to go look for a job. So I remember my dad made me promise him for like when I was like 8 years old or something that sometime in my life, I would spend 1 year in either China, Hong Kong, or Taiwan. And so I remember that, and I was like, hit him up first, like, yeah. So I ended up spending a year in Shanghai learning Mandarin. And I guess he was just kind of afraid that I was just becoming too American, and I'm probably still am after a quarter of a century in Asia. Too American, can't shake it off of me. So during that year in Shanghai, I visited my friend Dylan. He was in Hong Kong now working a couple of times, and you know, I've always loved Hong Kong. My parents are from Hong Kong. We made a lot of family trips, vacation to Hong Kong, but when I visited him, I saw another side of Hong Kong, and that was the fun expat side. So when I finished up my studies in Shanghai, I moved to Hong Kong to look for a job. But because I'm a bit of a moron, it took me something like 6 months to get a job. I just suck at interviews, and this was even during a economic boom, and there's just jobs everywhere. But you know, I ended up with a pretty top brokerage in Asia, internship in the China Research Department, getting about 1,200 US a year, which wasn't great in Hong Kong. It's a pretty expensive city to live in. And yeah, I worked my ass off. I worked on weekends because they had air conditioning in there, free air conditioning anyways. And yeah, I got 2 raises, but still wasn't great. I was making $2,000 per month. And then I impressed some people in my department, and they recommended me to do a transfer to Taiwan. And that was when my career started to boom. Now, I was trading Taiwan equities then, and yeah, it didn't take much to be successful at the time. I didn't have a lot of competition. If you spoke really good English, like native English, and you weren't a moron, you did pretty well. And you know, I developed some good relationships with some big clients, and then big orders started coming in, big money. Within like a year and a half of arriving, I was already making 6 figures in salary. Then another 2 years, I was married, had kids, and all seemed pretty good, right? You know, every year from 1997 until 2008, I was making more and more and more money. On top of my 6-figure salary, I was making a lot more in bonuses, and yeah, money was good. So basically I did what I was supposed to do. I went out, got a good high-paying job. I got married, I had kids. It was pretty good. You know, I was making a ton of money. I was saving a lot of it. I was providing a good life for my family. Made some good investments, also some pretty crappy ones as well. Bought a lot of nice things. Had a nice car, fancy watches, fancy shoes, fancy clothes. For me and my wife, we had 2 helpers. I mean, the apartment I was living in was $11,000 US a month. It was crazy. My daughter at like 4 years old even had Louis Vuitton clothing, Christian Dior clothing. I still can't even believe it. But deep down inside, I knew I wasn't happy. Something was missing. I wasn't doing anything I was passionate about. But that's all right. It's providing a good life for my family. You know, the people I work with, they're a lot of fun to be with. I learned a lot, had a lot of fun with them. Still keep in contact with those colleagues till this day, and I love them still very dearly. And the problem is when you make that kind of money, it's very hard to step away from. Even if I could step away from it, I wouldn't even know what I would have done. Just continue to truck along with the program, as you do, right? And in this business, we often ask each other, what is your number? Meaning, what is the number you need that you can retire comfortably and still sustain the same quality of life that you had when you're making a ton of money? So my figure was about 10 million to 20 million US dollars. I thought I was on my way. And so you make a pact, you make an agreement with yourself, right? Like, all right, I'm not doing anything I'm passionate about, but I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna put my head down and work, save money, put money away, make sure the kids, family's taken care of. And at 40 something years old, I can retire and then figure out what I want to do, what I was passionate about, what I really wanted to do with my life. All right, fair deal. I'm 49 years old today, by the way, or this year. But as with everything in life, things don't always turn out as planned. In 2006, when my son was 4 years old, he was diagnosed with autism, severe autism. Couldn't talk, couldn't sit still, couldn't potty train him. I spent half of my salary on treatments for him every year. I spent a considerable amount of time taking care of him, and even more time researching, talking to the doctors, just anything I can to try to get him out of the cloud he was under from the autism. Then in 2009, after 7-8 years of marriage, I filed for divorce and full custody of the children because my ex-wife at the time just was not a positive element in the family. I'll just leave it at that. But being male, being a father, a working father in Hong Kong, or even most places around the world, a father trying to get custody of his children, a nearly impossible task. So that divorce and custody issue lasted 8 years. And that broke me physically, broke me mentally, financially. I was in huge debt and my health suffered. The lawyers were the only winners in this all. And so went my plans to accumulate 10 to $20 million in wealth and retire at 40 something. Eventually I moved to Taiwan because that was the only job I could get at the time. My kids moved to Japan, and one of the toughest things to overcome when you file for divorce, when you have children, is that you can't see them every day. And that's tough because this time in my life, my children were the greatest source of joy for me. And now, after the 8-year divorce and custody trial and battles and stuff, I only got to see them like once every month or two. Anyways, moving right along, around 2015, I started developing some symptoms after my second dose of my hepatitis B vaccine, and eventually was diagnosed with a medical condition called fibromyalgia. Now, fibromyalgia, I think, manifests very differently in everybody, but for me, it was painful. I'd wake up every morning stiff AF, and I basically felt like I got in a street fight while I was asleep. It was so difficult getting out of bed. Throughout the day, I had, still had body aches, I had headaches, lethargy, just no energy. And basically I had to put all my energy into getting to my job, going to working, getting home. And sometimes I would just spend hours in bed after coming from work, in bed, just trying to feel better before I can get up and cook dinner. You know, I did so much just to try to make myself feel better, you know, take the pain away, physical pain, you know, ice baths, painkillers, whether that's Western medicine or some natural supplements, all these contraptions, hot pads, saunas, stretching, sleeping medication, whatever. On top of that, I was still taking antidepressant medication, anti-anxiety medication, and also testosterone replacement therapy. So quite a freaking medical cocktail and experiment I was. But here's where things started to change. It's when I took my first freedive course. Beginner freedive course, especially for someone who, like me, who was not in very good shape, is pretty physically demanding, and I did have a lot of doubts whether I could complete it. Maybe it's the combination of the ocean, the healing properties of the ocean, the sun, the island vibes. I did fine, you know. I had a lot of energy. I felt revitalized. I felt uplifted. I had energy. I did get tired at the end of the day, but that was like a good tired. It was like the kind that makes you sleep early and makes you sleep well. You know, that kind of tired you get when you're on vacation. 2 months later, you know, I signed up to take the second level course. First of all, because I love freediving now. And second of all, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a fluke, right? Like it just wasn't a one-time thing on that weekend, everything just started to align. But yeah, it wasn't a fluke. You know, I had an incredible amount of energy. I felt revitalized. I felt rejuvenated. I just had all this energy. And so that's when I decided I wanted to become a freedive instructor, because I needed a side hustle anyways to supplement my full-time job and to try to transition out of this finance job, which is becoming, I guess, more and more dead as a career, being automated away by machines. Later, 1 month after that course, I got laid off again. This is the second time I got laid off by the same company in 2 years. And in Taiwan, let's do a turnaround here. In Taiwan, laws are pretty generous towards the employee, right? And so I got a pretty generous severance offer, which I then took to Indonesia, started my course to become a certified instructor for freediving. And I didn't mean for freediving to become a full-time thing. It was just always sort of a part-time thing in my mind. I was still looking for work, but then COVID happened, and then yeah, that was a pretty crazy time. And so I somehow just focused a lot on freediving and how to market myself. And you know, right now it's just starting to make some decent money out of this. But one of the best things about teaching freediving is that, you know, when you see your students come here on the island, they're like at their best. They're on holiday, they're feeling the island vibes, they're not stressed out, and they're happy. And then when you teach them to freedive, they go under and they come up. I could literally see smiles on their face as soon as they surface, and I can see that joy in their face. And it's just really rewarding, especially coming from a job in finance where they're really, I mean, other than financial rewards, it wasn't really rewarding in any sort of human way, I guess. We're just helping rich people push money around the world. So now living on this small island for over a year now, living a healthy lifestyle, getting the sun, these morning walks, getting in the water, slowing down my life, not experiencing the city stress or anything. And slowly my sleep got better and better. After about a year here, it's like, wow, those fibromyalgia symptoms are gone. Yeah, they're gone. I'm healed. And so I really think, yeah, coming to a small island, whatever your condition is, can be very healing to your mind, to your body, to your soul. Any health conditions, you know, I'm off antidepressants. I'm not longer really taking anti-anxiety medication, no longer on testosterone replacement therapy. I feel very healthy. My blood pressure medication, which I've been taking for over 20 years, I've decreased. I have a ton of energy. I don't lay up in bed in pain. And I think I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. For real. I feel this incredible amount of contentment. Contentment, I know what that word means, but I've never actually really experienced it until like right now. I'm content. Feels amazing. And most of all, me and my new wife, we basically live off about $1,000 a month for the both of us. I mean, my power bill in Hong Kong used to cost that much. Anyways, talked about a lot in this video. If you have any questions about this story, about me, about my journey into healing or happiness or whatever, just comment below. If you want to take a free dive course from me in Taiwan on Xiaoliuqiu, check out some of the links below. Until then, I will see you in the next video.